Hi guys and welcome to English Language Arts grade 4. Our topic for today would be writing a composition, a comparison and contrast composition, right? A comparison and contrast composition, right? First and foremost, let's try to understand what this kind of composition is. Basically, guys, a comparison and contrast composition, these are written works that you compare and contrast two or more things, stating their similarities and differences. Because when you say you compare, you're trying to tell the similarities, just how the same two things are. Compared to contrast, you're telling about their differences, just how different two things are. Okay, now it can be quite challenging to actually create a composition or written work describing two things and describing about their similarities and their differences. So how are you going to do that? Okay, what you guys are going to do first and foremost is a pre-write. First things first, think of two things that you will compare, right? There should be similarities and differences, right? So it could be anything, could be two stories or two favorite objects or two things that took your interest. Any two things. Could be animals, can be food, okay? So long as these are two things with similarities and differences. When you've thought of that, right, think of their similarities and differences. Use adjectives in their positive, comparative, and superlative forms, okay? But in this case, since it's two things, you're going to use their comparative forms, right? You can use a Venn diagram to list the similarities and differences. How does a Venn diagram look like? This is a Venn diagram, guys. Basically, you have two circles there, right? On that one circle, the one on the left, right, that's one of one thing. And on the right, that's the other thing. Okay, the things that you see there in the circle, right? The two circles, they merge together in the middle. So everything that is not in the middle, right? These are the differences. So for example, the different things in one thing and the different things in another thing. And then in the middle, you'd have to write their similarities. Example. Just example, right? You'd have, for example, the two things, like for example, dark chocolate and milk chocolate. Dark chocolate over here, milk chocolate over here. Similar differences: dark chocolate, it's bitter, it's darker; milk chocolate, it's creamier, it's sweeter. And then the middle similarities: they're both chocolates, right? They both use milk. Okay, they have a certain level of sweetness. They're made of both cacao, right? Stuff like that. Okay, that's how you create the Venn diagram. When you're done with that, right, you have to make a draft, and in your draft, you have to come up with one paragraph about the things you are comparing and contrasting. Right? Describe the similarities and the differences of both of them. You have to have at least 3 differences and 2 similarities. 3 differences, right? So that's 3 for one and 3 for another one, and then 2 similarities for both of them. All right? Okay, so after that, when you're done with that, right, go to your revise. In your revise, you have to answer these questions, such as: do I tell how the things are the same and are different? Do I still need to add more details, or are there parts I have to delete? Are my words powerful and interesting to make my readers see a clearer picture of what I want to say? Is there coherence in my thoughts? A coherence is like, is it clear, or is it like, are they all in the correct order? Do they all make sense? Are there overused words? Are my verb tenses correct? Do my subjects and verbs agree? Okay? And when you're done with that, go to your edit. In your edit, guys, go check for grammar, spelling, indentation, and punctuation mark errors. Okay? And then when you're done with that, right, write the paragraph in your notebooks or pad papers. Make sure that the things you compared and contrasted are described properly. You have to be very descriptive with them. Okay? There must be, again, 3 differences and 2 similarities or more. There can be more things for the two things being compared and contrasted. There can be more than that. There could be more than 3 differences or 2 similarities. It's up to you. The activity title would be comparison and contrast composition. Don't forget the dashes, comparison dash and dash contrast and then composition. And then the title must be the things being compared. You be creative with how you write the title, right? So for example, you have, thing 1 versus thing 2. So for example, dark chocolate versus milk chocolate. Or it could be dark chocolate and milk chocolate, right? Once you're done with that, right, submit it online in Schoology or through your learning packets, okay? And basically, that ends our topic for writing a comparison and contrast composition.